I just developed an AI voice agent that will revolutionize the way you run your real estate business. This AI agent calls your leads and books appointments on your calendar. In this video, I'll walk through exactly how you can set this up for your real estate business in under 20 minutes. I'll start completely from scratch, walking through and explaining every step as I go. And I'm also going to be sharing with you the exact templates and workflows that I'm using right now completely for free, so you can copy and paste this setup for your business. If you want to follow along and build this with me, pause this video, click the link below, download the resources, and then come back so that we can get started. In 2025, AI voice agents in the real estate industry have become game changers. They can now handle inquiries 24/7, instantly respond to potential clients, and book appointments without human intervention. Imagine an AI voice agent that follows up with your leads, books appointments on your calendar, and provides personalized property recommendations based on the client's preference, all on autopilot. Companies that are using AI voice agents have seen up to a 30% increase in lead conversion. Why? Two things. One, speed to lead is incredibly critical. 78% of customers choose the first company that responds to them. 91% of those customers prefer personalized recommendations, which this AI can give. So if you want to stay ahead, embrace AI. It is the future of real estate. So in order to make this voice agent work the way we want it to, we are going to be using Vapi.ai to build and customize our voice agent and connect our phone number through this platform. And then in order to actually book the appointment, to check our calendar for availability and then actually book, we're going to be using a workflow in make.com. So to start, we're going to go onto Vapi.ai and we're going to click on try for free. In my case, I'm just already going to log in since I have an account already. We're going to go to assistants and then create new assistant. And we can call this whatever we want. We can say demo real estate appointment setter. And then we can just leave it blank. They have templates for us to set up, but we're just going to start from scratch. And I'll build out these prompts for you. And so you can just copy and paste all of these prompts. As I mentioned, all of these resources will be in the link below. So we're going to copy our first message from our prompt. This is the first thing that our agent says when they pick up the phone. Then we're going to copy the primary system prompt. This is essentially the main set of instructions that's going to be called every single time. And so we are going to copy all of this, bring it over into our new agent, and then we are going to lower the temperature. Temperature is essentially the extent to which this voice agent will follow exactly what's in the system prompt. And so if the user, the person they're talking to, says something that's out of the blue that's not in their system prompt, the ability for the agent to think creatively is that temperature. And so someone who's very creative, who goes off script a lot, of a high temperature. Low temperature would be someone who sticks to the script and sticks to the role that they are assigned. Based on this system prompt, we want our agent to follow the structure that we've set out for them. And so we're going to keep this temperature rather low. Then we're going to set the max tokens to 300, and we're going to allow it to detect emotion. And then we are going to leave this transcription the way that it is. We're going to go over to voice, leave the current voice setup the way that it is. So when we create a new function, we're going to click new tool, and then we're going to go over to make.com. That is the automation platform that we're going to use for our workflow. And so in this case, it's asking for a server URL. That's going to be our webhook URL. And that's going to be created when we make our automation. And so once we set up our workflow in make.com, we are going to be able to put in the server URL here and then create the rest of our function. So let's just go ahead quickly and move over to make.com. I created a brand new scenario here where we are just going to click webhook, and we want this webhook to be a trigger. So we're going to click custom webhook, and we are just going to create a brand new webhook. It's super simple. You're just going to type in honestly, whatever you want. Demo, real estate, appointment setter. As you can see, I've already gone through this. And then it is going to give us a URL. And so this URL, we're just going to copy it to clipboard, bring it over to our function call, click save, and then we can go ahead and build the rest of the function in Vapi. So for now, this function is only going to need the name, which is, we can describe it. We do want to include these descriptions because this does give information to the voice AI agent on what information to get from the user before allowing it to book that appointment. And so we're going to say the name of the person trying to book the appointment. Great. And then we're going to add another field, which is booking time. And this is the date and time of the appointment. Great. We're going to make both of these required in order to be able to call this function. And so basically this voice agent is going to need this information before calling the function that we're about to run. And so this function, we can call it booking. I'm just going to put demo for my sake, but you can just put booking to set an appointment, to meet with one of our real estate agents. Great. Click next. So these are messages that the voice agent is saying while the function is running. And so what I put here is something like checking the calendar, just a second. Delayed response is saying, sorry, just a sec. Success is when that function that we're about to create and make actually run successfully. What is our voice agent going to say in return? We can say something like, great, you're all set, or you're all booked, or something like that. And then for our error message, we can say, oh no, and just leave that the way that it is. So that's essentially if the function that we run and make returns an error, then we're gonna give that error message. So then once our function is booked, it's just gonna look like this. And for now, we can leave this aside. So our Vapi agent is essentially fully created. We just want to make sure when we go to assistants and we go to the agent that we did just create, we go over to functions and we make sure to call the function that we just created. And so we created this function, I called it booking. And so you want to make sure that function is called. And that's pretty much it. Then you can just hit publish on this and it will go ahead and publish that agent. We can leave that aside for just a second, and then we can go over to make.com and complete the rest of our workflow. With our voice agent complete and the function call set up, we just need to actually build out the function, which is going to be in this workflow. This webhook is set up to where it's going to give us the name of the person trying to book and the proposed date and time. So when the voice agent says, is there a time that works for you? And I say tomorrow at 9 a.m., it's going to pass in my name and tomorrow at 9 a.m. into this webhook. So once we get the time from the person that we're on the phone with, we're going to convert that time into ISO time. And so the first thing we need to do is to make sure we convert it into a format that makes sense to pass into Google Calendar. And so we do this using an OpenAI prompt where we have create a completion. What you're going to want to do is connect your OpenAI API connection to your make.com account. And it is super simple. All you have to do is click add and then log into your OpenAI account. And then you'll be able to call that within this module here. And so here you can pick which model you want to use. I just recommend using 4.0 for most things. And then you have a system prompt and a user prompt. So we're going to put in our system prompt. And what I've done is to make this a little bit smoother, I've actually copied all of this over so that I'm just going to be copying and pasting. But this template is pre-built for you and the links are down below. So feel free to just copy and paste that and modify it to your needs. So what we're doing here is we're getting the current date and time and we're passing that into ChatGPT. The reason for that is if someone on the phone says, I want to book an appointment tomorrow, we have to actually know what day tomorrow is. And so we have to know what day it is currently, what day and time it is currently in order to actually project out tomorrow and then pass that into Google Calendar to see what our availability is for that day. And so once this is put in, we just click OK. And then we can move on to the next thing, which is to call our Google Calendar module. So now that we have our date and time that the person has requested, we're going to check on our calendar to see if that time is available or not. And the way that we do that using Google Calendar's API is to use this endpoint known as the free busy endpoint. It's going to return all of the busy time slots on our calendar. And so I've already connected this to my Google Calendar. And so you'd want to make sure that you go through the connection steps, and there's plenty of resources online. If you have questions, just leave it in the comments and I'm happy to help you with that, or I can make another video on that. But essentially you want to connect your Google Calendar here, and the minimum time, what this endpoint requires is it takes in our start time and end time. It refers to it as minimum and maximum time. So what we're going to do here is our previous module actually returned the start time. And so what we're going to do is just pass in our results from our previous module as our start time. And then we are going to basically pass in our results. And then our end time is going to be the starting time plus however long the appointment is. In this example, I'm just going to make the appointments 15 minutes. And what we can do here is we can use this function called add minutes. And this is a pre-built function within make.com. So this add minutes function takes in two arguments. It takes in the result, which is the start time in our case, and then we add the amount of minutes. So we could put 30 here if you want to make it a 30-minute appointment. We do want to pass in our calendar ID, which in most cases is just going to be the email that's associated with your Google Calendar. And so for my case, I'm just going to put in my email real quick, and that should be all good to go. And so this is going to return all of the time slots that I'm busy on the proposed day. Then once we do this, once we return the busy slots, there's essentially two routes that we're going to take. One route is if the proposed time slot falls within one of the busy slots, meaning the user has to select a different time, or the happy path, which is the user selected an open time and we can go ahead and book them in. So we're going to have to create what we have as a router here. One thing I should mention as you're building out these workflows is to test them with sample data that comes in as you're building out the workflows. The reason for that is, for example, if we want to build this router and we want to build it for two different directions, if the slot that the customer recommended is available, then we go on path 1, otherwise we go on path 2. In order to do that, we have to actually get sample data. And so to get sample data, we have to actually run a test in order to see what data comes through. It's also just good practice as you're building out these workflows to make sure that the whole workflow works before you continue to build on top of it. So we're just going to run it real quick. And so this is our webhook waiting for data to come in. And so we are going to go to our assistant and have a conversation, ask to book an appointment, and then we will see what information comes into that webhook.
Hello, this is Sarah from Summit Peak Realty. How can I assist you today?
Hi, I'd like to book an appointment.
Great. I'd be happy to help you with that. Could you please provide me with your full name?
Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Could you please provide the address of the property you're interested in selling? If you're unsure, you can share the neighborhood or city.
Yeah, it's 123 Main Street.
Got it, 123 Main Street. When would you prefer to schedule your appointment? You can choose a date and time that works best for you.
How about tomorrow at 9 a.m.?
Checking the calendar. Just a sec. Oh no.
Awesome, so that worked as intended. As you see, all these things are green. If you heard it say, oh no, that's because it didn't get a positive response back. And so in the end of our workflow, we're going to build a webhook response that's going to send back data saying status 200, we're all good. We haven't built that out yet, so of course it's going to have that error message. So as you can see, the test here gave us the exact output that we're looking for. This webhook took in the information, gave us the arguments of my name being Sean, I wanted to book tomorrow at 9 a.m., and then passed it into chat, got us the output that we needed, and then our Google Calendar checked our busy slots. In this case, I didn't have any busy slots, and so that outputted empty. And so now what we need to do is just quickly set up a filter that takes the output of all of the busy slots. And so what we're going to do here, in this case, it didn't return any busy slots, but when it does return a busy slot, every busy slot has a start and end time. And so we're basically saying if there's no start busy slot time, then we can move on to this path, which means there is no specific start array for one of the busy slots, meaning there are no busy slots. We can say that this person or we are available at that time. And so we are going to put that filter there. And if not, it will treat this as the fallback option. And so we will set the other route as the fallback. So they are available, it will go here. Otherwise, this will be treated as the fallback. Now, let's assume they are available. If they're available, great. What we're going to do is we're going to take that proposed time and we're going to create a Google Calendar event. That connections should already be set up from the past. And we are going to connect our calendar, call it a specific name, say booking demo, just for the purposes of this. We're going to say start date. What time do they want to start? That would be time min. End date would be time max. And then you can put advanced setting as well. What I would recommend is throwing in one of the attendees, putting in their name and email. Since our function in Vapi is already getting their name and email before it even runs all of this, you can name this whatever you like. You can have your start date, end date. You can add your Google Meet. You can put in any description. So you could say, hi, name, whatever this person's name was that was trying to book. So in this case, that person was Sean, excited to chat. And then here's some details that we will discuss regarding selling your property. Great. So that is going to create an event. Then all we have to do is let our agent know that, hey, we created this event. We are all good. So we're going to send a response, a 200 response. And this response has a specific body type that it needs. And this is just going to be a basic JSON payload. And so what I have done is copy that over to make it simple. In this case, this is essentially what we're going to be passing back to our agent through this webhook. And then we're just going to click OK, and that should run just fine. Then we're going to create the other path, which is if it's not available, if this isn't available, then what are we going to do? Great, so now that we have our happy path taken care of, let's actually go ahead and test it just to make sure that we don't run into errors. So we're going to turn on this webhook get ready for a signal that we're going to send.
Hello, this is Sarah from Summit Peak Realty. How can I assist you today?
I'd like to book an appointment.
Great. I'd be happy to help with that. Could I please have your full name?
It's Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Could you provide the address of the property you're interested in selling? If you're unsure, you can share the neighborhood or city instead.
It's 123 Main Street.
Got it, 123 Main Street. When would you prefer to schedule the appointment? Please let me know the date and time that works best for you.
How about tomorrow at 9 a.m.?
Checking the calendar. Just a sec. Great news, you're all booked.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so as you saw, that webhook worked. We are all set, and now we're going to go ahead and build the last part of this. So in this scenario, the slot that they selected isn't available, and so we're going to have to find all of the available slots in that day and give them a few recommendations for times that they can book. And so the way that we do this is first go through our calendar for the entire day, find the slots that are available. And so the way that we do that is we use this tool and we set a variable. We can call it day, and we can have the variable value be a properly formatted variable. And I'm going to bring it in from my sheet. Amazing. So I brought in this variable value, and what this is doing is it is, as I mentioned, we're starting to find the available slots in that day. And so we're setting a variable that starts at the beginning of the day, gives the exact time slot at the start of the day. And then we're going to pass this into Google Calendar to see, okay, when are you busy? And then we find out when you're available. And so we set this variable, and then we're going to go back and call the free busy API again, just to get information on when we're actually busy. And here we're going to use the specific variable that we just set. And then we're basically going to use a similar function as we did earlier, which is to add hours, because we're looking for available slots within the entire day. And so we are going to call that day plus 24 hours. Yeah, that looks right to me. And then we're just going to need to specify which calendar we're going to be looking in. And then we're just going to put in our actual calendar, which is just going to be your email. And then we're all set. I'm just going to hit save so it doesn't forget. And then this endpoint is going to return all of the busy slots within the day. Then what we want to do is take those busy slots and then find which slots are available. And we do that by using ChatGPT, and we are going to write up our prompts. I already have these prompts ready to go. And so in this case, we're going to be looking for finding alternative times. And so this is the system prompt, and then we're going to need a user prompt for the specific instance. And that is going to be this user prompt. Again, all of these will already be filled out for you, so you don't have to even worry about copying and pasting. You can just add in your API key with OpenAI, which you should have already done at the start of this, and this will already be populated for you, and you can just go ahead and click run and you'll be all set. This is just to explain how this is all working. Now that we've gotten all the busy slots for that day, we are going to transform this into JSON. We're going to take the output that gives us all the busy slots and turn that into JSON. So we have our busy slots here. We're going to pass that in, turn that into JSON. And then we are going to need to do a few things. We're going to need to convert the time that was passed on to us from universal standard time to our specific time zone. So in my case, it's for Pacific Standard Time. And so we're going to need to convert the time that Google Calendar gave us and turn that into Pacific Standard Time. And so in order to do that, we have our system prompt and our user prompt. And so we will go up here, copy these. Then we're just going to say, here are the time slots for the prompt. And then we're just going to pass in the results of this. Once we've converted it into Pacific Standard Time, then we're going to find alternate times within the day that the person is available. And so we have another set of prompts that we're going to grab. And this is still going to output in JSON format. Great. So now that we have all of that set up, the last thing we have to do is just set up this webhook. And so the webhook is just the response. It's going to be sent back to our voice agent, giving the appropriate times that we have available in our calendar so that the voice agent can let them know, saying we have these times available. And then that person will then give another response and it will trigger this webhook again. And the idea is when the person is ready to book, it will come into this path with an available time for our calendar. This webhook needs a body in the form of some sort of a JSON. And so I have this response that should work just well here. Let me paste it and make sure, and this should be okay. I'm gonna hit save. Great, so we're all set up. Now what I'm going to do, what I just done is add some busy slots in my calendar, and I'm gonna make sure that this path works so that when I request a time that's not available, it's going to go down this second path, this fallback, and it's going to trigger all of these things. We're going to make sure that these run properly, and then we are all set. We already know this path works from our previous test. So I'm going to click run, and then we're just going to call the agent.
Hello, this is Sarah from Summit Peak Realty. How can I assist you today?
Hi, I'd like to book an appointment.
Great. I'd be happy to help you with that. Can I please have your full name?
Yeah, it's Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Could you please provide the address of the property you are interested in selling? If you're unsure, just let me know the neighborhood or city.
It's 123 Main Street.
Got it, 123 Main Street. When would you prefer to schedule the appointment?
A house tomorrow at noon.
Checking the calendar, just a sec. Let me provide you with 5 available time slots for tomorrow. 1, 9 a.m. 2, 10:30 a.m. 3, 1 p.m. 4, 2:30 p.m. 5, 4 p.m. Which time works best for you?
Let's do 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Perfect. Could I have your phone number and email address to confirm the booking?
Okay, that is going to be it for this walkthrough. Hope you all were able to follow along with this tutorial and were able to implement this agent in your own business. And now you can customize it to your needs so that this voice agent can now book appointments for you on autopilot. You can connect this to the previous video that I had made about having a follow-up outbound agent. And then you can create something really powerful within your own business to basically automate all of your outbound calls. I'll be making future tutorials like this. If you guys had any questions from this video, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer those. And if you're ready to take your real estate business to the next level by building these AI agents, my team and I can absolutely help. Check out the link below to book a strategy call with us. And if you want to build out these AI agents yourself, check out my other videos on this channel as I show you how to build these agents step by step. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.